Hey YouTube, it's Luke here. Got a new product for you today. This is the Pioneer DJ-WeGO 4. I am really excited to have this thing. It's a little miniature controller, but it has a lot of capabilities of a much larger controller. We're going to tear into this box here and I'll kind of show you some of the more details of it, but I'm just super excited to try this thing. As always, Pioneer does a great job of packaging stuff. I'm never disappointed when I get something from them. Alright, before we look at the deck, comes with a power cord, USB cable, and power brick. Love the inline power bricks. Pioneer, thank you for not giving me a wall wart with this. I am literally just so happy to have this thing right now. It is so cool. It's a little smaller than I thought it was going to be, but not bad at all. I love the fact it's all metallic on the top. Stainless, very beautiful. The faders feel really good. You know, sometimes you get some real crummy faders on these lower end controllers, and I'll tell you what, pods feel great. Has filtering, high-low, so 2-band EQ. You do have your headphone level there as well as headphone cueing. You have 2 load buttons as well as your browse knob right here and load. Click it straight in. On the back, you've got a 1/4-inch mic input. You've got your right-left RCA master. There's a lock on there. It has a USB input, or you can run USB out in order to power your device. So you can plug in your charger for your iPad. And in fact, that's what this slot is for right here on the top. Rubberized, which is cool, so you're not going to damage your iPad sticking it in there. Charge it from here, and it rests right in there at a 45-degree angle, so that's going to be pretty handy. So this thing is awesome. It's just like a full-size controller. You've got all your hotkeys down here at the bottom, play, pause, as well as your cue. Here's your shift for removing your hotkeys, things like that. You've got your addition and reduction of bars for your auto loop, as well as the auto loop on-off. And you've got your 3 effects buttons up there at the top, which are awesome. Love having all that there. The platters feel really, really good. I mean, they have a little resistance to them, which is super nice. They do light up. I'm excited when I fire this up to see what it looks like. It's going to be pretty cool. And I mean, just the build quality on this seems pretty great. I'm really excited to try it. Can't wait. Alright, so one of the first things you're going to want to do when you get this thing set up is hit the standby on button. That'll fire it up, right? You're going to see some lights around the little platters here, jog wheels, whatever you want to refer to them as. And currently, I have Rekordbox open. This controller did come with Rekordbox as well as Virtual DJ 8 LE. Both great pieces of software, but I definitely prefer the Rekordbox. There are some tutorials online you can check out on how to set either one of those up if you're new to DJing altogether. Here's the deal. You've got 2 great tempo sliders up here. Okay, that will allow you to adjust your BPM on screen. Now again, I'm using Rekordbox, and so that display is right up here. Most DJ softwares are going to display your BPM up in the platter display. Now there is a really nice master level control. All these pots feel really good. They're really great to hold. Your mic level is right over here, and there is a 1/4-inch input on the back for mic. Okay. Now this is your browse knob right here in the center. Pressing it straight in will allow you to go back, and then when you're ready to load a track, you just press the load button right here on the left-hand side, and it throws it right in. Okay. There's also an EQ section in here in the center. Very nice EQs, very nice knobs, but the sound quality is great. Sometimes the filtering on some of this stuff isn't the best. Really nice. So we've got high EQ, low EQ for both decks, and we have high pass and low pass filter. Okay. Now if you're new to this and you don't really understand what a filter is, what you can do is if you're playing a track, you might use it to kind of add an effect to it. DJs sometimes do that. Okay, so you might use like a low pass filter effect, something like that, and we can definitely use that to transition from one deck to the other. So right here in the center section, there are a couple buttons, 1 and 2. This is a headphone cue. So if you have your headphones plugged in, you can cue in deck 1. Okay, okay, or cue in deck 2. And so you might be playing deck 1 through the house, but you want to hear what's going to be in deck 2, so you might want to cue that in. If you want to cue in your master, you can press that center button right there, and that'll allow you to hear both decks simultaneously, however the crossfader is outputting them. Okay? So down here underneath both platters, now both sections of this controller are identical, so don't get confused. Underneath the platter, you have a cue button. Okay, a cue button allows you to assign a cue and hit that cue spot every time at the exact same point. Okay, you also have your play and pause button down here, and you have 4 hot cues. Okay, now I have some hot cues set up for this song I Cry. Okay, for our purposes right now I'm going to take these off, but what I'm going to do is hold shift in case you have assigned a hot cue and you don't know how to remove it. Hold shift, take these all off. Okay, this is the same on Serato or Record Box, whatever you're using typically. And so what we've got over here on the left deck is I Cry by Flo Rida. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of this track, and I want to set up my first hot cue. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go to that first beat. Okay, and I'm going to assign my first hot cue. You do that simply by pressing the button. Now if we want to play from this hot cue, we just hit it.
It wasn't easy getting to the top. Born and raised in Carol City, Florida.
Okay. Now what you'll notice is that's not really a good spot to start a song, particularly if you're in a club setting. Okay, so what you might need to do is find second and third hot cue points. Okay, so we can search through the song. Let's see where we're at.
This is the story of my struggle.
Okay, let's keep going. So what we're going to do is start right here, and we're going to assign our second hot cue. Now ready? We're going to play from this point. Alright, so the song's playing. Now as it's playing and we start to listen to it, we might want to assign another hot cue right in the moment. So let's do it. See how that works? So you assign a hot cue, you can do it on the fly, and then you'll go back to that cue point, which allows you to do some cool things with your music. Okay? And the neat thing about this WeGo is it has some of these professional options that some of these bigger controllers have, but a lot of the smaller ones don't. Okay? Now, something else you might want to do, I'm going to go over to a different track here over on this deck. We're going to talk about loops real quick because the WeGo can do looping really well. Okay, so I'm going to crossfade over to my right deck here and make sure my filtering and everything is off. I'm going to go ahead and play this track. Alright. Now you'll notice I played it right from that second hot cue point. I didn't want to waste my time at the beginning of the song. There's a big build, it's kind of slow going. So it's nice to come into a song right when you want to during that exciting part. Okay, so here we go. We're going to reduce that loop. Alright, so you can see how looping could be effective for certain things. I use it a lot of times when I beat match. I'll put one deck on an auto loop, so when I'm ready to bring in that track I can, and then I take my loop off and it goes right into that track, okay? So, alright, so the last section I want to talk about are the effects up here, the pad effects, okay? So you might be in the midst of playing a song and want to use an effect to transition out of it or just to enhance the kind of vibe of the song, okay? So let's pick a cue point and play. Alright, so this is kind of rocking, so we could add a little echo and see what happens. Kind of gave it like a big open feel. Also makes great transitions. You can echo at the end of one section and either it will go into a new section or you can go into the next deck, which will take you into a new section. So effects are very, very useful for that kind of stuff. Alright, so one of the coolest things about the new WeGo is the fact that it's so neat to use with like an iPhone or an iPad with the WeDJ software from Pioneer. And so I've always been curious, I thought, oh, let's hook my computer up to it. I know how to do that, it's fine. Then I thought, oh, you know what? I better try this with the phone and just, see what it's like. This is actually really, really cool. So right now, the display that I have up is actually 2 waveforms. So if you're familiar, I'll kind of zoom in here just a little bit so you can see it. If you're familiar with what you're looking at with a waveform, pull the volume down a little bit. You can set a hot cue point. Okay. Full crossfader into the other deck, right? So let's find. And you can use your finger, that's the best part about it. It's easy to load songs. Okay, so I'm going to assign a hot cue for this one. Cool. Now you see it playing, right? So here we go. We're going to pause. You can see the waveforms right up here. Now, pull these volumes down. If you take a look here in the center, there's a little button, whether you have iPhone or iPad, and that'll change to the deck view, in case you can actually see the deck spinning. Okay, and you can actually scratch in if you want to. See how that works? So, touch here again. And you can do a horizontal waveform display if you like that better. So I mean, here we go. You're getting some of these full deck options, full software options on an iPhone. I mean, that's crazy. Like, truth be told, if I really wanted to, like, I could take this to the club this week and I could play a whole gig with this thing with that iPhone, right? So it's kind of crazy to me. I mean, the software is really great. Also, what you have here on the iPhone or the iPad, I'm assuming they're pretty similar. If you press this button, this also gives you, I'll kind of show you here, it's got all your effects, so it shows your echo, flanger, my V-break, right, my auto loop settings right here, and my hot cues, A, B, C, and D, also filtering. How cool is that, right, for the right deck, and then to turn it off, you touch it. Same for the left deck, okay? So, I mean, we've got these awesome options right here on the iPhone, like, almost can't even believe it. To cue up your headphones, you've got that right on each side, which is super cool, so we'll cue that up, see if we can hear it. Yeah, it's awesome. So I've had a great opportunity to play with this thing for a while, and you know what? The build quality is absolutely phenomenal on it. Okay, the buttons are absolutely great. They're very solid. I've purposefully been just using them a lot, kind of beating on them just to make sure they don't loosen up, and they feel solid. The crossfader is awesome. I love the resistance on it. Both of the volume faders for both decks are very, very nice. I like them a lot. Again, all these pots, they call them potentiometers, across the board feel really good. Everything about it, it's built really nice. I love the stainless top and everything, and it's definitely a cool unit. The neat thing about it is you can prep all your tracks. It's small, set it right in your lap, so if you're at home, you can assign your cue points, you can set up your effects, you can do all your stuff, and you know what? You have this there. Or if you're a beginner and it's your first deck, this is an awesome deck. It's got all the features, and you know what's interesting? I've never noticed until I really used this WeGo, but your hands are in the shape of something round, right? So if you just allow your hands to relax and you set them down, these are round, okay? It's neat because as you're DJing, it just naturally, your fingers flow to these effects buttons, to these loop buttons. Your thumb naturally is comfortable using these play, pause, cue, hot cue buttons, everything like that. So really, really great job in the design of this. I know this is the 4th generation, so they're doing something right for sure, but I just want to let you know that if you're looking at this, I believe it's priced $300 is about what it is right now. And if you're looking at this, I think it's well worth it. I think it's a nice piece of equipment. The platters are very responsive. It's got a capacitive touch on the top, and as you can see, they do well, okay? Jog wheels are very, very nice, when you're trying to jog beat matching, things like that. So I'm very, very happy with this controller. I'm not disappointed in it whatsoever. It came with everything that I needed, and I am super happy. Alright, so just some final thoughts on this. It is a very cool controller. It's super fun to play with, great for prepping tracks. If you're new to DJing, it's going to be awesome for you to learn this stuff. And the cool thing is it has most of the great features that some of these huge decks have. And so if you learn on something like this, it's not a waste of time at all, because you're going to transition from this to something much bigger, much nicer, much quicker. And the cool thing is because of the simplicity of this, it doesn't overcomplicate things. You have the ability to do lots of really cool things with this, lots of really cool effects, a lot of really cool transitions to create some great mixes. I would just encourage you, especially if you're newer, don't look much further than this, because you're going to buy something that's going to overwhelm you. You may not have that much fun with it, and you may give up on DJing altogether. So if this is sort of in your wheelhouse and you're kind of thinking, well, I want a few more features, but this is pretty cool, just go for it, because it has a lot of cool stuff on it. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you get a chance, please subscribe to my channel. It helps keep me going. If you need anything, if you need any help, please let me know. I'm happy to help you learn this controller. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.